Electric potential and capacitant, class number 1, presented by S. Murugayan, Educator, Chennai. To discuss electric potential energy, according to the first figure, there are two charges plus Q, capital Q, and small q, and capital Q is said to be point charge or source charge. It will develop electric field, and small q is very small charge comparing capital Q. So the electric field developed by small q will not affect that of capital Q. So small q is not predominant one. So the small q is said to be test charge. So electric field direction is given in the second diagram. Along the electric field of capital Q, there exists and field force F vector suffix E, electrostatic force developed on the test charge Q due to the source charge capital Q. And the same diagram, external force also shown. External force direction is opposite to the electric field force. So the force given externally on the test charge in order to balance the effect of electric field force and to move Q further towards the source charge. So this is depicted by the second diagram. So according to the diagram, what should be the amount of external force? We can give any amount of external force, but the minimum amount of external force given in order to counteract, just balance the electric field force. That's why look at the first line, F vector external force equal to minus and F vector due to electric field. Both are equal and opposite natures. And what is the statement within the box? This shows that the work done against electrostatic force F vector in bringing the test charge Q from a reference point R to an arbitrary point in the electric field E at a distance OP equal to R at infinitesimally slow speed and with zero acceleration, without any acceleration. Why? Because the net force becomes zero. Is entire work done is stored as an electrostatic potential energy on the test charge Q. We will discuss elaborately. Look at the first paragraph. If the external force is removed on reaching the point P, the electric force will take the charge small q away from Q due to the predominance effect of capital Q or repulsive force. So the stored energy, that is potential energy on the charge Q, is used to provide kinetic energy to the charge Q in such a way that the sum of kinetic and potential energies is conserved. And one more point to be remembered, in this situation electric field is not uniform everywhere. According to the position of the arbitrary point from the source charge capital Q, the electric field is differ. That's why in order to get the total work done, we have to use integration. To apply integration, we need to find differential work done. For that, let us start with the delta W. A small change in work done is a dot product of external force vector and the differential small displacement opposite to the direction of external force. Because of the direction of external force and the movement of test charge opposite nature, theta equal to 180 degree. So we have to use cos 180 degree in the expansion. F external into delta R into cos 180. We knew that cos 180 equal to minus 1. So delta W equal to minus F external into delta R. In order to integrate, we have to convert delta W into dW and delta R into dr, and F external force numerically equal to and electrostatic force. So F external is replaced now Fe. So differential work done dW is equal to minus Fe dr. The total work done in bringing the test charge small q from the reference point R to the arbitrary position or point P as an integration, the total work done W is integral of dW with the lower limit reference point, upper limit arbitrary point. So dW equal to minus Fe dr, and after integration we can get the total work done. What is happening? So this total work done is converted or stored in the test charge in the form of electrostatic potential energy denoted by an U. Okay, but remember, at every point in the field, a particle with a charge q possesses a certain electrostatic potential energy. Accepting this concept, due to the work done, increase its potential energies by some amount. That amount equal to delta U. The increase in potential energy or change in potential energy delta U is defined as difference between potential energy on Q at two different positions P and R. So delta U equal to UP, potential energy of the test charge at the point P, minus UR, potential energy on the test charge at the reference point. So the difference equal to W RP. So R to mean reference point, P is position vector. Okay, the WRP is equal to minus of R2P Fe dr. So from this comparison we can conclude one thing. Look at the point given as a note here. The displacement in this an opposite sense to the electric force. So the work done by the electric field is negative. So minus work done by electric field is minus work done by external force. Very important. So work done by electrostatic field due to source charge is negative of work done by external force. We can say the other way also. The work done by external force is a negative of work done by an electrostatic force. Therefore, we can conclude, we can define electric potential energy difference between 2 points as the work done required to be done by an external force in moving without accelerating the charge q from one point to another for electric field of any arbitrary charge configuration. So this point is very important. And one more thing, the potential energy difference is in term of work done. UP minus UR is WRP. So the potential energy difference is in term of work done is physically significant. But potential energy at a single point without any arbitrary constant is not at all significant. So to make the potential energy at any point as significant physically, we should add an arbitrary constant alpha. So potential energy at the point P is denoted by U suffix P with an arbitrary constant alpha. Now we can redefine. So work done in bringing a unit or a tested charge from reference point R to P is UP minus UR is nothing but UP plus alpha minus of UR plus alpha. So a convenient choice to have the electrostatic potential energy is 0 at the infinity mean. At the infinity position, the potential energy is 0. Why? Because at the infinity distance from the source charge, the effect of electric field is 0. No electric field. So without any work we can move test charge towards the point charge or source charge. So this is the meaning. So with this choice, W infinity P is UP minus U infinity is straight away UP, because U infinity equal to 0. As a final conclusion of potential energy of a test charge Q at any point in the presence of any source charge Q is UP equal to W infinity P. What is the definition in statement? The total work done in bringing a test charge Q from infinitely large distance to an arbitrary position P due to a source charge Q is termed as potential energy on the test charge P. The next discussion after potential energy at a point due to source charge on test charge, and we are going to discuss electrostatic potential V. Electrostatic potential V at a point P due to a source charge capital Q. So look at the statement. If electric potential at a point P is denoted by an V suffix P in the presence of an arbitrary source charge Q, then potential difference between the 2 points P and R in moving a test charge Q is given by, and delta U R P, that means change in potential energy, is equal to UP minus UR. We had already discussed, but the UP minus UR is written in term of the product of the test charge and potential difference, not potential energy difference, potential difference between the 2 points Vp minus Vr. So Vp minus Vr is nothing but potential difference between 2 points P and R. The product of potential difference into Q equal to change in potential energy on the moving test charge Q. The same thing can be written the other way. Potential difference between the 2 points P and Q, Vp and Vr, is equal to UP minus UR by Q. So the total potential energy per unit charge. This is the meaning. If we assume the reference point at the infinity distance from the origin, that is the position of point charge or source charge, then potential at a point P is defined as mathematically Vp equal to UP by Q. So the same mathematical statement is converted in terms of words. What is this? The only difference, instead of bringing a test charge, we are going to bring a unit positive charge from infinitely large distance to the arbitrary point P with respect to a source charge Q. So the electrostatic potential V at any point in a region with the electrostatic field is the work done in bringing a unit positive charge without acceleration from infinitely large distance to that point. So that SI unit of electrostatic potential volts or joule coulomb inverse 1 or joule per coulomb. Based on the discussion of the potential at a point, electrostatic potential V at a point, now we are going to derive mathematical formula. So look at the figure. Capital Q is a source charge and P is arbitrary point, final position, and infinity. From infinity distance we are going to bring a unit positive charge until the point P, which is at a distance R from the point charge or a source charge Q. So this is the information we obtained from the diagram. So electrostatic force on a unit positive charge at a point P dash, any position other than P along the line P dash, the position of P dash from Q, OP dash is taken as R dash. So the force experienced by the unit positive charge at a distance R dash is F vector equal to Q into 1, product of two charge, that is unit charge, Q into 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R dash square into R dash cap, that is unit vector, this vector approach. And we calculate the differential work done dW, product of force vector and the differential and distance dr dash. So dW equal to F vector dot dr dash, as a direction of F vector and dr dash opposite to each other, theta will be 180 degree. So dW equal to minus mod of F vector in the dr dash. Then potential at the arbitrary point P is the total work done in bringing the unit positive charge from infinity distance to the arbitrary point P in terms of integration minus integral with the lower limit minus infinity to P, and dW is mod of F vector in the dr dash, and infinity to P we replace mod of F vector equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R dash square in the second step. So in the third step, and the constant factors within the integrand is taken out. So what are the constant factor? Q by 4 pi epsilon naught is taken out as a common factor, and we have kept only 1 by R dash square within the integral. It is known that the integral of 1 by x square or integral of dx by x square equal to minus 1 by x. So applying this, then potential at P minus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. After integration we have to apply upper limit and lower limit, minus 1 by R plus 1 by infinity. 1 by infinity is 0. So potential at the point P Vp equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R. Therefore we can conclude the potential at a point at a distance R from the source charge Q, R distance, V of R equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R whenever Q is positive. In case Q is negative, V of R equal to minus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R. Q is negative. So remember, electric potential is a scalar quantity with the SI unit volt or joule, Coulomb inverse 1. Now we are going to discuss elaborately the derivation of electric potential at an arbitrary point due to an electric dipole. So what is the expecting result? V of R equal to P vector dot R vector divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R cube, or scalar approach V of R equal to P cos theta by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. Here P vector is nothing but dipole moment vector. So Q into the separation of the dipole, 2A into Q equal to P vector. R is the distance of the arbitrary point P from the center of the dipole setup, and theta is angle between P vector and R vector, and the clear diagram is given. So according to this diagram, this figure only we are going to discuss now. Let us see the clear and discussion now. Electric potential at a point due to a dipole. So this is our A. A dipole whenever two equal and opposite nature charge particles are kept at a very small separation will give dipole. So this is plus Q, the other one minus Q. The separation 2A The center of the dipole is taken as O. This is O. The center of the dipole O. The point A, O, B. Okay. So this is a dipole. With respect to the dipole, we can take one arbitrary point P. So we are interested to find electric potential due to dipole at this point. So what is the position vector of the point P with respect to geometric center of the dipole? This is R, at R distance. Then the direction of P vector from negative to positive charge. This is the direction of P vector. At the same time, the direction of electric field due to dipole. So this is opposite direction. The electric field line and dipole vector always anti-parallel vector or anti-collinear vectors. Okay. Now, the distance of P from the point A where plus Q charge is kept at a distance R1. The distance of the point P from the point B where minus Q charge is kept is at the distance R2. And we can assume the angle between the P vector and R vector. If it is a vector, R vector means this angle is theta. Okay. So what is our aim? The electric potential at the point and P and VP are at the distance R, and potential due to plus Q and potential due to minus Q. Yes, electric potential is a scalar quantity. Sum of these two will give the total potential at this point P. Then VQ, V due to plus Q equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. What is the distance? R1. Then minus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R2. So we take out the common factor Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. Then inside 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. Okay, this is the result number 1. This will be final result after knowing the value of R1, R2 in term of R and theta. Okay, listen. Applying cosine rule in the triangle OAP. Apply cosine rule in the triangle OAP. Then R1 square is R square plus the semi distance, total distance 2A means this is A square minus 2 RA cos theta. Okay, this is known as cosine rule with respect to any kind of triangle. Okay, so now we can take R square is a common factor. R square into 1 plus or 1 minus 2 A by R cos theta plus A square by R square. So dear student, what is the definition of dipole? The two oppositely charged particles should be kept at a very small separation, mean A is very small quantity comparing the distance. So A square by R square very small, then R square into 1 minus 2A by R cos theta. This is R1 square. If we continue the discussion, what is R1? R1 equal to R into 1 minus 2a by r cos theta whole power 1 by 2, positive root, but we need 1 by r1. Then this implies 1 by r1 equal to 1 by r. Then 1 minus 2a by r and cos theta, instead of plus 1 by 2 minus 1 by 2. This is a reciprocal form 2. So we can have similar result for R2 also, but for R2 the angle similarly R2 square in a triangle OBP, R2 square equal to R square plus A square minus 2 RA cos, what is actual angle? This is linear pair, theta mean 180 minus theta. Then R square plus A square plus 2 RA and cos theta. If we apply the same kind of adjustment, then R2 equal to R into 1 plus 2a by r and cos theta whole power 1 by 2. Then 1 by R2 will be equal to 1 by r 1 plus 2a by r cos theta whole power minus 1 by 2. But we need 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So this is third result, and 2 comma 3 implies 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. We can take 1 by r common. 1 minus 2a by r and cos theta whole power minus 1 by 2. Then minus 1 plus 2a by r cos theta whole power minus 1 by 2. Then applying binomial theorem, for negative power or negative index, we can accept only two terms, the remaining terms infinitesimally small. So 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2 equal to 1 by r into, after expansion, 1 plus and 1 by 2 c1 2 cancel, a by r cos theta, then minus 1 and minus or minus plus a by r cos theta. The remaining terms are neglected. Then plus 1 and minus 1 cancel. So 2a 1 by r into 2a cos theta by, or straight away we can take r square. 2a cos theta by r square. This is 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. This is very important result. So dear student, we need first result. So 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2 should be replaced by 2a cos theta by r square. So from the result 1, potential at the point P, V at the distance R, Q by 4 pi epsilon naught into 2a cos theta by r square. 2a by r square. Listen, 2a into q is a dipole moment. 2a into q, p cos theta by 4 pi epsilon naught r square is V of r, or in vector form. We will multiply, divide by r the numerator, Yes, theta is angle between P vector and R vector में, and V of R equal to P vector dot R vector, so divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R cube. So this is final result. Potential at any point due to dipole P vector dot R vector divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R cube. If we take the point along the axial line, the theta will be 0. Theta 0 means cos 0 equal to 1. So straight away P divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. So potential at an axial point. Potential in the equatorial line. If we draw a perpendicular bisector with respect to the AB, theta will be 90 degree. So cos 90 0 means at an equatorial point, and potential 0 at an axial point, potential P divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. So we are going to discuss the two cases separately. This is combined result and go through this. If we consider a potential due to a system of charges, a system containing more charge particles as shown in the figure. So consider a system of charges q1, q2, q3. There are n charges qn with the position vectors r1, r2, r3, rn relative to some origin. So the potential V1 at a point P as shown in the figure due to the charge q1 is expressed as V1 equal to q1, the numerator charge, the denominator 4 pi epsilon naught, and separation of the point charge from the point r1p. And similarly V2 equal to q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught r2p, and V3 equal to q3 by 4 pi epsilon naught r3p. Okay, so similarly we can get all the points V1, V2, V3 up to Vn. Adding all the values will give the total potential at the arbitrary position P due to n charges in the system. As a conclusion or general result, and V equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 by r1p plus q2 by r2p plus q3 by r3p until qn by rnp, or in generally applying summation symbol 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into inside summation of I equal to 1 to n qi by rip. If we discuss potential energy in an external electric field, so first point, potential energy on a single test charge in an external electric field is product of the test charge and potential in that point. So Q into V of R, and UP equal to Q into VP, capital Q into small q by 4 pi epsilon naught R, and unit of potential energy joule. So instead of single point, if we take 2 points, there will be 3 terms. The first term due to external field q1 V of R1, the second term potential energy on the q2 due to external field q2 into V of R2, third term potential energy between the two charges q1 q2. So q1 q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught r12. There are 3 terms. Remember, whenever the external field E vector is absent or E vector 0 and potential 0, so q1 V of R1 0, q2 V of R2 0, only third term is left q1 q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught r12. This is very important point to be noted. As a general result, a potential energy of a system containing n point charges without any external field, very important, without any external field u equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught and summation qi qj by rij, where I and j are different but varies from 1 to n. For example, if we consider a system containing and 3 point charges q1, q2, q3 and without any external field E vector equal to 0 mean, then what is the potential energy associating to this system? U equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught summation of qi qj by rij. I is not equal to j, varies from 1 to 3 mean, if we expand the summation within the bracket, expansion of summation q1 q2 by denominator r12, that is separation between two charges 1 2, second term q1 q3 by separation r13, third term q2 q3 by separation r23 into 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So dear student, we can extend this particular formula for any system containing any number of point charges in the absence of electric field, that is E equal to 0. Another important area of this chapter, finding relation between electric field and electric potential. We know the derivation of electric field at a point. So electric field at a point due to a source charge q is mathematically q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square, and the electric potential at a point due to the source charge capital Q, V equal to q by 4 pi epsilon naught r. So the result 1 and 2. First result to mean electric field at a point, second result electric potential in the same point. And if we differentiate the electric potential with respect to r, we can get potential gradient. The potential gradient dV by dr. If we differentiate voltage with respect to the separation r, minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Why? Because of derivative of 1 by r is nothing but minus 1 by r square. Very important. So this is given as a third result. Now comparing first result and third result, we can get dV by dr equal to minus E, or the absolute value of E, that is electric field, equal to minus dV by dr. So electric field is defined as negative gradient of potential. Electric field is defined as negative potential gradient. So negative potential gradient is electric field. What is the interpretation? In the field of electric field direction and potential and reduce or decreases steeply. If we keep the dipole in an external electric field, we already discussed in the first chapter, and there will be torque or restoring torque. The torque is P vector cross E vector. So minus Q plus Q constitute a dipole with a dipole moment vector P vector in the direction of minus Q2 plus Q. The angle between dipole moment vector and electric field as per the figure theta, and 2a sin theta is perpendicular distance between two forces act at two charges minus Q and plus Q due to external electric field. So the torque apply in vertically upward direction and in anti-clockwise direction, the rotation in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, but if you apply any external torque to balance the torque, tau equal to P cross C in opposite direction, actually in clockwise direction, the net torque will be 0 in a stage, and it tending to rotate the dipole to some amount theta in opposite direction. So the total work done in rotating the dipole is stored in the form of potential energy in the dipole. So due to external torque, the dipole and move from initial position theta naught to the final position theta 1. So what is the total work done in rotating the dipole from theta naught to theta 1 by an external torque, and W equal to integral of and tau external into d theta. What is tau external into d theta? Small differential work done in rotating the dipole to the angle d theta by external torque. So the integral of differential work done will give us the total work done. So if we expand tau external is Pe sin theta. Why? Because the external torque numerically should be equal to the torque developed by the dipole due to external field, numerically equal. Minimum amount of external torque is magnitude of the original torque developed on the dipole due to electric field. So tau external is replaced as Pe sin theta, and Pe already constant. Integral of sin theta is minus cos theta. Applying upper limit theta 1 and lower limit theta 2, W equal to Pe into cos theta naught minus theta 1. For understanding purpose, if the starting position total potential energy is 0 mean, then cos 90 will be 0. So we have to take theta equal to pi by 4, pi by 2, so that the potential energy is 0. And theta 1 is taken total angle theta. So potential energy in rotating the dipole some amount of angle theta u of theta by an external torque is equal to minus Pe cos theta, or in the vector form minus P vector dot E vector. The expansion of P vector dot E vector Pe cos theta. Now we will discuss and numericals. The first one, calculate the amount of work done in to dissociate a system of 3 charges, 2 of 1 microcoulomb and 1 of minus 4 microcoulomb, and placed on a vertices of an equilateral triangle of side 10 centimeter. The another question, a test charge Q is moving without acceleration from the point A to B and from B to C, actually from A to C, along the path from A to B and then B to C in electric field E as shown in the figure. Actual question, calculate the potential difference between the points A and C. And another question, at what point of these two, A comma C, is the electric potential more and why? Interpret. ABC, an equilateral triangle. At the vertices A, B, C, and 3 point charges are kept, 1 microcoulomb, 1 microcoulomb and minus 4 microcoulomb. Question, what is the work done required to dissociate all the 3 charge particles? From the vertices of an equilateral triangle to some infinity distance is the same as, so work done required to configure a 3 charge system. Charged particles system. kept at vertices of an equilateral triangle with the side 10 centimeter will be equal to the total work done is nothing but potential energy to configure this 3 charge particle system 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r12 q1 q3 by r13 q2 q3 by r23. Okay, from the data this value 9 into 10 power minus 9 into 10 power 9 q1 into q2 10 power minus 12 micro square by the distance 10 centimeter in meter 0.1 or 1 by 10. The next one q1 q3 minus 4 into 10 power minus 12 then 0.1 q2 q3 minus 4 into 10 power minus 12 10 power 0.1 that is 10 power minus 1. Okay, including the 0.1 1 by 10 10 power minus 13 10 power minus 13 10 power minus 13. So we can simplify now 9 into 10 power 9 into 10 power minus 13 the 1 minus and minus 4 8 then 9 into 1 minus 8 so minus 7 into 10 power minus 4 so minus 63 into 10 power minus 4 joule. So this is the work done required to dissociate the 3 charged particles. The next question, the E represent uniform electric field. The uniform electric field, consider 3 points A, B, C. Okay, if you draw a line across BC, it is perpendicular to the direction of E. So we can have any plane through B comma C can be equipotential surface. Because of equipotential surface, the potential at every point on the equipotential surface should be equal. So VB and VC will be equal. Okay. Then a charge particle Q is brought from the position A to B horizontally and then from B to C vertically downward to reach C. Once the particle Q reaches C, we can find the potential difference between A and C. The potential difference between A and C delta Vc equal to and VA Vc minus VA. Potential difference delta Vc minus VA. Okay, then from the known concept electric field equal to negative potential gradient. This is a distance potential gradient. Then using this delta V equal to minus D into E and D is the distance between A and B or A and C. Both are at the same potential mean the distance is equal to 4 centimeter minus 4E. What is delta V? Vc minus Va. So this is the potential difference between the points A and C. This is answer of first subdivision. And to answer the second subdivision, and delta Vc minus Va is minus 4E is a negative quantity. This implies Va should be greater than Vc. So this shows that the potential difference at A is greater than the potential at the point A is greater than the potential at the point and C, and go through this. So let us now derive the expressions separately to find electric potential at a point which lies on axial line and lies on equatorial line of a dipole in an uniform electric field E. Let us see the proof. Electric potential at an axial point and electric potential at an equatorial point due to a dipole. This is a question we had already discussed, but this is a separate discussion. So this is axis of the dipole, the separation 2a minus q plus q. If you extend the axis to the point P, so this is a P is a point along the axial point. The distance of the P from the center of the dipole is R. So potential at P d2 plus Q, potential d2 plus Q and Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. What is the distance of P from the point B, that is Q, R minus A. And potential due to minus Q at the same point P, Q by minus Q by and 4 pi epsilon naught R plus A, or additional distance A. Adding both we can get a total potential at P. So total potential at the point P, V equal to V d2 plus Q and V d2 minus Q because of scalars. So Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R minus A minus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R plus A. Then Q is divided by 4 pi epsilon naught and common factor after simplification R plus A minus of R minus A. The denominator R minus A and R plus A, R square minus A square. So minus R and plus R cancel and Q into 2A so divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square minus A square, or V equal to 2A, separation in the one of the charges, dipole by 4 pi epsilon naught. The distance R is very large quantity comparing the half length of the dipole A. So A square is very small, negligibly small. Apply approximation R square alone. So P by 4 pi epsilon naught at an axial point. Axial point. Now, and minus Q plus Q, draw a perpendicular bisector. The perpendicular bisector is known as equatorial line. Along the equatorial line, a point P is taken. The distance of the point from the two charges minus Q plus Q equal distance. R1 or R2 equal to root of A square plus R square. So V plus Q equal to Q by 4 pi epsilon naught, the separation A square plus R square and root, and V due to minus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught root of A square plus R square. The net electric potential at a point on the equatorial line, V equal to V plus Q and V due to minus Q. Both are equal and opposite in sign, mean the total value is 0. So V at the equatorial point 0, potential at any point taken on the equatorial line must be 0. Potential anywhere along the axial line is P divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R square. 4 pi epsilon naught R square. So the two result we are discussing separately and go through this. So another two question we are going to discuss. The first question, two charges minus q and plus q are located at points a of 0, 0, minus a and b of 0, 0, plus a. That is 2 points on the z axis, one on negative z, other one on positive z axis respectively. How much work is done in moving a test charge from the point P of 7, 7, 0, 0, that is point on the x axis, to another point minus 3, 0, 0 q on the negative x axis. Next question, four charges are arranged at the corners of a square ABCD of side D as shown in the figure, and find the total work done required to put together this arrangement. The second question B, a charge Q0 is brought to the center E of the square, the four charges being fixed at its corner. How much work is needed to do this? And along with the question, a figure is given. Go through the figure. Now let us see the solution of these two questions. In the first question, the two charges plus q and minus q are located along z axis 0, 0, a, 0, 0, a. So this distance a unit is another a units. So the total distance of dipole 2a, this is origin. So along the origin and x dash is equatorial line. In equatorial line there are 2 points at the distance 7 unit from the origin, 7, 0, 0, one more point 3 units along the negative x-axis, minus 3, 0, 0, being the point P and Q at the equatorial line, VP or VQ both are equal. So the potential difference between these 2 points are moving a charge particle from P to Q or Q to P will be 0, because VP minus VQ, then what is potential energy? Q into delta V, Q into VQ minus VP, being VP equal to 0, VQ equal to 0, the potential energy is 0 and potential also 0. Okay, this is very important. And next question, in a square lamina of side D units, 4 charges plus Q, minus Q, plus Q, minus Q are kept at the corner of a square ABCD. The first question, we should find the total potential energy or work done required to configure the system or to put together all the 4 charges. The work done to put together all the charges Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4 at the corner of a square with the side D is nothing but potential energy. Total work done is nothing but the total potential energy is formula and K into Q1 Q2 by R12 plus Q1 Q3 by R13 plus Q1 Q4 by R14 plus Q2 Q3 by R23 plus Q 2 Q4 by R24 plus Q3 Q4 by R2 R34. This is total potential energy of a system containing 4 charges, and taking the value and K equal to 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, then Q1 into Q2 minus Q square by the separation D, Q1 Q3 Q square by separation root of 2D, the diagonal root of 2D, Q1 Q4 Q1 Q4 minus Q square by D, and Q2 Q2 Q4, so plus Q square by root of 2D. Okay, then 1 2 3 4 terms over 1 2 3 4 Q2 Q4, so Q2 Q4 plus Q square, and Q2 Q3, this is D only. Then fourth one Q2 Q4 minus Q plus Q square by root of 2D. Then Q3 Q4 minus Q square by and D. Listen, minus Q square by D and plus Q square by D cancel, and plus Q square by root of 2D plus Q square by root of 2D, Q square by and D, so which is common, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, or Q by Q square by and 4 pi epsilon naught and D into and 1 by 2 by root of 2, that is root of 2, and Q square minus 2. Okay, so this is total potential energy or total work done required to put together all the 4 charges Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 at the corner of the square with the side D. What is the next question? What is the potential at the point E? Potential at the point E, it is center. Then total potential at the point E, V equal to V d2A, V d2B, V d2C, V d2 the corner point D. What is V d2A? Q by 4 pi epsilon naught. What is the distance? D by root of 2. D by root of 2. The total distance root of 2D means the distance of the center from each corner, D by root of 2. Then what about VB? Minus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught and D by root of 2 or root of 2Q, and C plus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught and D by root of 2 and minus Q by 4 pi epsilon naught D by root of 2. Everything cancel. So the potential at the point E equal to 0. So VE equal to 0. If you bring one additional charge Q naught to the point E, and what is the question? A charge Q naught is brought to the center E of the square, the 4 charges being fixed at the same places. How much work done is needed to do this? Mean the total work done, needed to bring Q naught to the point E will be equal to UE, potential energy at the point E equal to VE into the charge Q naught. What about VE? VE equal to 0 into Q naught. So what amount of work done required? 0 amount of work done required, or the potential energy on the charge Q naught at the point E is equal to 0. Go through this. Equipotential surfaces. What is equipotential surfaces? If we consider any surfaces equipotential surface, at every point electric potential must be 0, or the work done in bringing any amount of charge from one point to another point of any equipotential surface, the total work done will be 0. So without any amount of work, we can bring any amount of charge from one point to any other point on the equipotential surface. So this is actual definition of equipotential surface. So we can construct equipotential surface for a single positive charge as a symmetric sphere, as well as and a single negative charge. Actually, if you draw electric field line for single positive charge and symmetrically and radial directions and going away, if you take a point at the same distance from the source point, the envelope of all the points is a sphere. So with respect to a single charge, the spherical surface or concentric spheres are considered equipotential surface, whether it is positive single charge or negative single charge. If we look at the first figure, all field lines are parallel. What is the meaning? The distance of the source charge at the infinitely large distance from these three surfaces. So each three surfaces are generally equipotential surfaces, but at the same time, in the direction of electric field line, the amount of and potential and decreases. So comparing the first surface, second surface, third surface, as we move towards right side, the amount of potential energy on the surface decreasing. At the same time, the amount of potential energy at any points on a single surface must be equal. This is a point to be noted. Look at the second diagram. In the second diagram, an equipotential surface drawn between two charges, two like charges, and between two unlike charges. The first diagram A is equipotential surfaces drawn between two unlike charges, negative and positive charge. The B diagram, equipotential drawn between two like charges. So if we have two negative charges, the similar kind of equipotential surfaces can be obtained. If we discuss the electrostatics of conductors, the first point, inside any conductor, electrostatic field is 0. Why? Because inside the conductor, the electric potential at the surface or inside a constant. So look at the explanation given. A conductor has free electrons. As long as electric field is not 0, the free charge carriers would experience force and drift. But in static situation, it won't happen. So the free charges have so distributed themselves, and that the electric field is 0 everywhere inside the conductor. So electrostatic field is 0 inside the conductor. So this is a way to conclude this. The next point, look at the statement. At the surface of a charged conductor, electrostatic field must be normal to the surface at every point. So to understand the situation, I look at the diagram. I have drawn electric field not normal to the surface at the point. So whenever the electric field is not normal, we can resolve the electric field horizontally and vertically. Horizontally E cos theta, vertically E sin theta. Due to the existence of horizontal component of electric field, any charge particle on the surface and will get acceleration and start moving. This is not possible in unstatic situation. So due to this contradiction, and we have to accept electric field vector at any point on the surface always normal to the surface at every point. In any conductor, the interior of a conductor can have no excess charge in the static situation. I think in the static situation mean in the absence of any external electric field, the total charge on the conductor and reside only on the surface, not inside the conductor. This is the meaning, excess charge in the surrounding and the surface only. So there is no net charge at any point inside the conductor. This is the reason. The net charge at any point inside the conductor is 0. So any excess charge must reside only at the surface. For the next point, electrostatic potential is constant and throughout the volume of the conductor. Why? Because inside electric field is 0. So electric field is negative and potential gradient. Then electric field is 0 mean and dV also 0. dV 0 mean V must be constant. So remember, this is very important concept, and any charged particle in static situation and potential on the surface as well as in the bulk is constant, but the electric field exists only outside starting from surface, but in the bulk electric field is 0. So this is very important application of electric field. Why? Because electric field at the surface of a charged conductor, not epsilon by sigma by 2 epsilon naught, epsilon by sigma not alone, epsilon by, that is sigma by epsilon naught into n cap. Why? Because this is not a uniformly charged sheet, and charged conductor mean inside the net electric charge is 0, inside no charge. So if you consider a Gaussian surface like a pin box, one portion of pin box inside the conductor, the other portion of pin box projected outside mean due to only the outside the cross sectional area alone flux exists, and due to lateral surface flux 0, and inside amount of charge is 0. So the total by Gauss theorem E into the area delta S equal to, and what is E generally, and sigma by epsilon naught into delta S. Then after simplification we can get E equal to and sigma by epsilon naught alone, so not sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So electric field at the surface of charged conductor and E equal to sigma by epsilon naught as a vector quantity. E vector equal to sigma by epsilon naught into n cap. N cap is a normal unit vector. So look at the figure given. The middle shows no cavity of the conductor. In the cavity E vector equal to 0. So the potential can be less than 0 or V equal to and V on surface. Okay, but look at the surface of the figure. various amount of charges, and one portion sigma is positive, the other portion sigma is negative. So what is the meaning? Whatever be the charge and field configuration outside, very important, whatever be the charge and field configuration outside, any cavity in the conductor remains shielded. If you have any cavity in the conductor, remains shielded. What is the meaning of remains shielded? Inside there won't be any effect of electric field, and from outside electric influences. The outside electric influences will not affect any object within the cavity, because within the cavity electric field is zero. So this is known as electrostatic shielding. The field inside the cavity is always zero. That's why, so this phenomenon is known as electrostatic shielding. When realistic situation, the electrostatic shielding is very useful one. So to protect any electrical and electronic gadget, and we have to keep within the hollow. For example, the refrigerator and body is conducting body, but the inside component are safe due to electrostatic shielding. During rainy season and thunderstorm, if we are inside the bus or car, we are in shape, because inside the car or inside the any vehicle, due to electrostatic shielding, there won't be the effect of electric field. So immediately whatever charge is reside on the surface at any position, it is immediately is discharged to the earth. That's why the giving earth connection is very important. And remaining portion of this chapter to be continued in the next class, class number 2. And thank you, students.